Hello reader friends and welcome back to my channel. You might be looking at the title of this video and thinking, Faith, I thought you just said that you were on a book buying ban. I was, but then my local library had a sale and all the books there are like $1 to $2, so I made an exception. If you will follow me to my right or your left, you will see a very large stack of books that goes all the way to the ground that I am sitting on. But before the judgment comes, I got all of these for I think less than $50. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23 books. But I also, like, 6 or 7 of these books I got a couple weeks ago. They just took a while to get in the mail. So I didn't buy all of these recently. I believe I got 20. No, I think I got about 15 from the library sale, and then the rest of them I got from Book Depository, Book Outlet, or Half Price Books. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into it. If you saw my last video, I did mention these 2 Book of the Month books that I just recently got, and that is Alice Feeney's Daisy Darker and Ali Hazelwood's The Love Hypothesis. Daisy Darker is an adult thriller, and The Love Hypothesis is a romance with like some science-y, fun subplot type of things. I'm really excited for both of these. They are both pretty highly anticipated on my TBR, and I've been in a really weird like romance mood, which is very unheard of for me. So I thought I would just dabble in, you know, have some fun with it. This next book I got on Book Depository because they only had the hardback here in the US, or at least that I could find. So I got the paperback on Book Depository, and that is Stephanie Garber's Once Upon a Broken Heart. I love the look of this book. I'm not a hardback gal. I really don't enjoy hardbacks. I don't know why. So I was really excited to see that they had the paperback on Book Depository, and I just think the cover is so beautiful and so much fun. It just looks super like whimsical. I believe this is a young adult fantasy romance type of thing. I'm not 100% sure, but it has really good ratings, so I'm really excited. These next 4 I got on bookoutlet.com, and I got all of these for like $5 or less. First one I got is Ironside by Holly Black. This is part of the Modern Fairy Tale series. I did read Tithe a while ago, like back in summer, and it wasn't my favorite, but I love the world so much and Holly Black's writing, so I decided to continue the series. Again, like I said in my previous video, there is a book in the middle of Tithe and Ironside, and that is Valiant, but I've heard that you don't actually have to read Valiant, and they didn't have Valiant in paperback on the website, so I just got the 3rd book, and I'm just gonna rent the 2nd book from the library probably. But now I have the last book in the trilogy. The next book that I got is actually one that I've already read, but it was a 5-star read, and I have the 1st book of the series on my shelf, and that is Finlay Donovan Knocks 'Em Dead. I love the Finlay Donovan series so much, and the 3rd book comes out in January, which I'm so freaking excited about. This is just a light, fun, like murder mystery. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in a mystery book, and in any book in general, as hard as I've laughed in this series. It's so fun, it's so sweet and heartwarming, but it's also very thrilling in the way that it just like keeps you on your toes. Like you're constantly like, oh my gosh, what is gonna happen? But not in like a scary way, it's more in just like a fun, like how in the world is this happening type of way. So I'm happy that I have the 2nd book now on my shelf, and I'm really excited for the 3rd book to come out. The next book I got is Samantha Downing's For Your Own Good. I just put My Lovely Wife on my November TBR, so that's also by Samantha Downing, so hopefully I'll get to that one this month and then maybe read this one in December. This one's like a dark academia. I believe it's an adult thriller. Again, I've heard a lot of really good things about this one, so I'm really excited to get into her writing. This next book I'm so excited about because it has been on my TBR for a very long time, and it is one of the most anticipated thrillers for the like winter season. This one I've heard nothing but good things about from all of you guys, as well as like other booktubers and just my Booksta friends and real life friends in general, and that is Alice Feeney's Rock Paper Scissors. I'm so excited for this one. I really want to read this in December because it literally just reminds me of like Christmas time and just the winter season in general. It just seems like such a fun book, and I didn't realize that it wasn't very long. It's like just under 300 pages. So I love a good short plot twisty type of book. I've never read anything from Alice Feeney, and I have 2 of her books now on my like current seasonal TBR. The next book I got from Half Price Books here locally, and that is Hunting Prince Dracula. I have Stalking Jack the Ripper there. Since I haven't read the first or second book yet, I don't want to buy like the rest of the series because I want to make sure it's something that I actually like and enjoy, but I've heard really good things from all my bookstore friends, and it just seems like a really interesting, like crazy story. And I kind of do love that it's set in like I think it's in the late 1800s. I don't know, let me check because now I'm interested to see. 1888 is when the first one is set in, and I'm assuming this one isn't far off from that. But anyway, I wanted to read that in spooky season, then I ended up getting carried away with my other books, so hopefully I'll get to that sooner than later. So the rest of the books that I got are from the library sale that I had just recently went to. And the first book that I got is the second book of the Harry Potter series. I have the first book. I haven't read it yet, but literally everyone's telling me to read this series. And I feel like it's just a classic. Like, you have to read Harry Potter at some point in your life. So I ended up getting this one for $1.50. So I'm really excited to eventually get into this series. The next book I got is Lisa Gardner's One Step Too Far. I got this for like $2. So from what I got from like the synopsis and the back writings and quotes and whatnot is that Lisa Gardner is like an avid hiker, so this is set like in the woods. It has really good ratings on Goodreads, and I've never read Lisa Gardner's writing, and I really like to hike myself, so I just thought this would be a really fun book to read. The next one I got is Sally Rooney's Normal People. I got this for $1.50. This isn't a book that I would pick up normally, but I'm trying to read more out of my comfort zone, and I want to make a video where I read books out of my comfort zone, so I think this would be a really good one to start with because it does have pretty good ratings, and I've heard a lot of really good things about it from my bookstore friends. I feel like Sally Rooney's another one of those writers that you either love or hate, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it because if I'm being completely honest, I don't think I'm going to love this book just because it's just not my style, but I am wanting to just broaden my perspectives a little bit and venture out into different genres. The next one I got is just another copy of Verity. I did just read this one not too long ago, but this was literally $1, and I really want to give some book-ish gifts this holiday season. So I just picked up another copy of that to gift to someone. The next one I got is Frederick Backman's My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry. Got this one for $1.50. I have Anxious People and A Man Called Ove, both on my shelf right now. I've read like part of Anxious People, but then I wasn't in like the mood for it at that point in time, so I put it down for a little bit, but I do want to pick up his writing again because I think that his writing is so unique, and I love that he just makes characters and stories so real and relatable. And I read that this one's a little bit of like a heartwarming, like fantasy, fairly-ish type of book. So I don't know, I'm really excited for this one. I have been craving like a light, heartwarming read, so I think that Frederick Backman is going to be really good for getting in my feels. I feel like it's gonna be a good palate cleanser too, especially after I'm reading all these like thrillers and like more intense fantasies and whatnot. Next, I got Jeff Vandermeer's A Peculiar Peril. This book is freaking large. This book is like over 600 pages long, so I don't know when I'm gonna get to this. Honestly, big books intimidate me so much, so I don't know, we'll see. But this, when I first started reading, like back in March, this is one of the ones that I wanted to pick up. So it's been on my TBR for a long time. I just haven't like gone around to buying it because it's like $20 at the bookstore, and I wasn't craving it enough to buy it yet. But I saw this at the library sale, and I literally got it for $1.50, so that was really cool. This one is a young adult like fantasy. I was looking up books that kind of remind people of like Alice in Wonderland, and this one came up, so that was all I needed to know, is that it kind of reminded people of Alice in Wonderland. I was all for it. So I picked that one up. And then next one I got is Megan Golden's The Night Swim. I believe she also wrote The Escape Room, if I'm not mistaken. And I didn't love that book. I gave it like a 3-star, I think. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't like my favorite. But this one had pretty decent ratings on Goodreads. And since I had read one of her books already, I kind of wanted to see how I would like this one. This one is an adult thriller. I think it might have some triggering content in it though, so I might have to like look up trigger warnings beforehand. Then next, I got John Mars, When You Disappeared. I have been wanting to read The One by him for a very long time, but again, I'm trying not to buy a lot of books right now, like full price books, but I do want to kind of dabble into his writing, so I picked up this book by him. This is, I don't know if it's a young adult or if it's an adult, but it's about this girl who like wakes up one morning, her husband's gone, and then he ends up like living this entirely different life, and then like years later they end up seeing each other again, and I don't know, there's a bunch of lies and secrets, and it just sounded really interesting, so I picked that one up. Next, I picked up Five Total Strangers by Natalie D. Richards. It is a young adult thriller. This one doesn't have very good ratings and reviews on Goodreads, but I really enjoyed the synopsis. This one, I believe, is about a girl who is like trying to go home for the holidays, and her flight gets canceled, and then there's like a group of other people around her age who are just going to drive to their destination. Then someone's acting sketchy or something, and then the main girl like starts to panic. And the last sentence in the synopsis says, if she wants to make it home alive, she'll need to uncover the truth about these strangers before this nightmare drive turns fatal. Ciao. This is another one that was just like a snowy, wintry, atmospheric type of like thriller read, and that's kind of what I was going for. I want to read more seasonal, Christmassy, wintry reads. And then the next one I got is April Henry's The Body in the Woods. This one I think is a pretty old book, but I've heard some pretty good things about it. I believe some of my books to friends and then some of you guys also have recommended this book to me. I don't exactly know what it's about. I think there's like a bunch of teenagers that end up finding like a body in the woods, and then it's just like a mystery, like a murder mystery kind of. I'm honestly not 100% sure what this one's about. I just know that it is a YA like murder mystery type of book and that you guys recommended it to me. So I love picking up books that you guys recommend me. The next book I got is Jennifer Hiller's Jar of Hearts. This one I have also been wanting for a while, but one of my books to friends just read it and said that it was not a light book to get through. So I wasn't anticipating it to be like really triggering or have like really heavy topics, but she had mentioned that it did, so I'm glad she did, because now I can kind of prepare and go into this book knowing kind of what to expect. This one is, I think, a YA thriller? I don't know, but it's pretty popular, and I'm excited to get into that one. Next book I got is Bob Goff's Love Does. This is a like faith-based Christian book. I like Bob Goff. I think I read one of his books a couple years ago and really enjoyed it. I think he's a very wise man. This one is about discovering a secretly incredible life in an ordinary world. I've just been wanting to get some more, not like necessarily like self-help books, but just books that make you feel good, you know? And that is this one. This one's been on my TBR for a while, so I'm happy that I finally got a copy of it. Next, I have a classic. Not a literal classic, but just a book that is fairly old. It's like a modern day classic, I guess. And that is Ready Player One. I have been also in a weird like sci-fi mood, and I've never really read like a sci-fi book. And this one has like 1 million ratings on Goodreads. And I've heard really good things about it, so I was really happy when I saw that they had this one. Okay, 2 more left. The next one I got is Catching Fire. This is the, I believe, second book to the Hunger Games series. I got the first book of the Hunger Games series at Half Price Books for like $2. So when I saw they had this one for $1, I just snatched it up because I also have heard really good things about Hunger Games series. And this is another like modern day classic. Like everybody's read these and everybody needs to read them at some point in their life. Kind of like Harry Potter. And then the last book that I got is the third book of the Cornelia Funk trilogy. The first one is Inkheart, and then Inkspell and Ink Death. I was so freaking excited when I saw this book. At first, I was kind of upset because it's a hardback, but it had like a dust cover sleeve on it with a bunch of stickers of like teachers' names and just library things. So I was kind of butthurt that it had like all that stuff on it, but then I tried to just take off the dust cover and it ended up being a printed hardback. Like there is no cover on this right now. It's just like this is on the hardback, and I love books like this so freaking much where the design is actually like printed into like the hardback shell. So I just added Ink Spell, which is the second book, into my November TBR. So hopefully I'll get to that book this month, and then I'll get to Ink Death maybe next month or like in a couple months. I'm not really in a rush to finish this series because it is just like a nostalgic childhood favorite. So I kind of just want to like savor those moments and just read them as like comfort books. But I think these covers are absolutely beautiful, and this is a middle grade fantasy. Again, one of my childhood favorites, so it's very, very nostalgic for me. It's just a fun, lighthearted, like whimsical, magical story. If you're wanting a middle grade like fantasy that's comforting and fun to get through, then I would definitely recommend this trilogy. In some ways, I feel like it doesn't need to be as long as it is. Like each book is, I think, around like 500 to 600 pages, but since it is a middle grade, it's really easy to get through. Okay friends, that is the end of my little book haul. Let me know if I picked up any of your guys' favorite reads and how you enjoyed them. I'm really excited to get through all of these books, and I feel so freaking lucky that I found all of the ones that I did. I definitely lucked out this time around. I went to the library sale that they had. They only have them like 4 times a year, so that's why I let myself just kind of binge because they're so cheap. Like I literally got so many books for like 20 bucks and a lot of good ones at that. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around and supporting me. I seriously cannot express my gratitude for you guys. I love you. I see you. I cherish you, and I'll see you in my next video.